51 yards for Cairo Santos. 2 seconds on the clock. 22-21 Green Bay. Middle of the field. Flags are quiet. Taylor extends his hand. Snap. Placement made. Cairo Santos. Kick is up. And the kick is good! And the Bears have walked off and won in Green Bay, putting to bed 2 nasty losing streaks. The in-season streak and the Packers streak. And the Bears win it 24-22.
The voice of Jeff Joniak, the play-by-play voice for the Chicago Bears, describing the end of kind of a Bigfoot sighting. I mean, a rarity. The Chicago Bears beating the Green Bay Packers. It was 24-22, and here comes Super Special Siny, the Sultan of Smug. He is a David Sinykin. This is the border battle at TC Head Cheese is where you find him on the tweet machine. And David joins us now, where we have multiple therapeutic Davenports of love. Clearly, the Minnesota Vikings had much for which to play, got killed to one of the better teams in the NFL. And over there in that therapeutic Davenport of love is David Sinykin. Still, he's a little bit in the fetal position, still shaking a little bit, not from the outcome, but the Josh Blackwell punt return and the okey doke, where everybody went to DJ Moore, I think. Now, the Minnesota Vikings, David, they were on the wrong side of that in the end of the 2016 season against the Bears in the last game of the year, where everybody ran to Tariq Cohen. And there's Bryce Callahan completely on the other side of the field. And he runs in for an easy punt return touchdown. From that moment through the end of the game, a tough day yesterday for your Pack, but nevertheless, the season rolls on at Philadelphia in the postseason next weekend. And good morning.
Yeah, good morning, PA. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Not a great day for either of our squads, and for the Pack, it was more injury-related than anything else coming out of that game. Tough day on the injury front for the Packers offense, and that's what I'm thinking about most this morning.
Well, I saw Watson get carted off. I know Love left, elbow, forearm, hand, or something. Is there more than that?
That's enough for me. Christian Watson hadn't practiced all week and was listed as questionable and was not even going to play until Romeo Dobbs comes up sick and they decide they need another body. And now he may have torn his ACL and next season may be in doubt. So that's a big one because he's that game-stretching receiver that really opens up Green Bay's offense. Would really love to have him for Philly next week and any kind of potential playoff run. Love appears to be okay, funny bone, but, you don't know for sure if he'll be 100% next weekend. So, yeah, just some injury concerns. But, yeah, it was a weird game. I mean, the Bears were up 14-3 and they had like 12 yards of offense to show for it. And, bad coaching decisions, just a really weird decision by LaFleur to call it timeout. He kind of panicked, not knowing whether his kicker could kick from 55. That allowed the Bears to have enough time to make a run. And then that last drive, you get a horse collar penalty to start the drive that didn't even need to happen because Williams was just running out of bounds. And then the last play on 3rd and 11 where I think the body of Jeff Hafley was taken over by the mind of Joe Barry because they played this ridiculous prevent defense and allow Caleb to just play catch with DJ Moore and put the team in field goal range when you could have just stamped that game right there with just a little bit of pressure on Caleb Williams. So just a weird day at the offense and don't have the vibes we had heading into the playoffs like we did a year ago.
What was the reaction or level of satisfaction or sarcasm when Matt LaFleur won a challenge? I mean, he was 0 for 6 on challenges into the game, and he won one yesterday.
Yeah, sarcasm is probably the right word. It was a weird deal because they called it a catch initially, and then they said instant replay said, nope, it's incomplete. They reviewed it quickly and said, no, incomplete. But it was clearly a catch, so he had to challenge even though they got it right the first time. It was the easiest challenge in the history of challenges. It was a clear catch. I don't know what that initial decision was, but, yeah, it was nice to get a 1 on that side of the challenge chalkboard before the season ended.
So with help me with this, because we were we a few of us sat in the lobby of the team hotel with our game being a night game and watched the game pretty closely. And well, there's Xavier McKinney, and all the dogs were playing in the game. Now I should know this answer, but I'm a little tired right now.
Sure.
Did they play all their dogs, all the best players, to avoid Philadelphia? Was that the situation?
I wouldn't say all their dogs. Josh Jacobs got 6 carries, and then he was asked to sit down and stay warm.
Okay.
And I think he was like 6 for 44. Defensively, yeah, they did, and they held the Bears to 220 yards, which, that should win you most games when you hold a team to 220 yards. So, yeah, I mean, the game in Dallas was in doubt until the final moments. I mean, I'm watching both and thinking we have a chance to pull this off because even Washington pulled Jaden Daniels in the middle of that game and put Marcus Mariota in. So they didn't seem to care that much. Maybe Green Bay thought back to 2010 and they said, you know what, in 2010 when we won the Super Bowl, we opened the season in Philly, we closed the season at home against the Bears, then we started the playoffs in Philly. So it's kind of got those 2010 vibes by going back to Philly to start the playoff run. But obviously, to me, not the best scenario to play a team like that. They had a chance to rest all their players and should have Jalen Hurts back. It's obviously a really tough spot, and the line just keeps climbing by the hour.
Well, don't. Let me see if I can guess it. Philadelphia minus 4.5.
I think it's up to 5.5. It opened at 2.5. Oddly enough, but yeah, I think it's 5.5 as of an hour ago.
Well, I mean, injuries aside. And the way the week plays out, don't for a second think your squad can't win at Lincoln Financial. I mean, it's winning a playoff game there is difficult, but the farther you get in the playoffs at Lincoln Financial, the more boisterous that fan base and cocky it gets, because Hurts and Sirianni can have emotional breakdowns with each other at any second in any game. And if that thing goes sideways and they start hating each other and they got like problems and stuff that are deeply rooted, I mean, you can win that game, David.
Yeah, no, I'm not all doom and gloom on a Monday morning. I'm just most disappointed for Christian Watson and what happened yesterday. I just can't shake that. Malik Willis came in and really played well in Love's absence, and he banged his thumb on a helmet at the end of that game, and it allowed him to not complete his last couple throws. He stayed out there, just basically threw the ball into the ground. The game should have been over on that 55-yard field goal, really. The Packers should have run the clock down, and that was it. So I'm not that concerned about where this team sits. Gotcha. I know Philly is an enigma. Hurts will not have thrown more than 4 passes in the last month, and they can get all into their own business. So, no, I'm not doom and gloom. I don't like the last 2 performances I watched from my team. Doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence that they're going to flip a switch and suddenly put all 3 phases together, because all 3 phases were not so great yesterday.
Well, last one, 40 seconds, you get it all. So do you think that there was coaching malpractice playing Christian Watson, knowing the malady and no practice all week?
Yeah, I do. Oh. Malik Heath made the catch of the day, maybe one of the best catches of the season. He's good. You've got Bull Melton. You've got Dontavian Wicks. You've got 3 tight ends. You don't need 4 or 5 guys out there. And when you've got a guy who's got an injury history, he hasn't practiced all week. I know he was saying he felt good just waiting for clearance, but you didn't need him out there, knowing that he's the one guy that unlocks everything else for your offense. Nobody else has that speed. Yeah, I don't think he should have been out on the field yesterday.
Sorry about all that, David, and better luck next week. Appreciate the time for the border battle. God bless you and your family, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Sounds good. Have a good week, PA.
Yep, appreciate you. David Sinykin, the border battle. It's a weekly occurrence, 9 to noon. Packers take an L, Vikings take an L, and here we are. Norder produces, and I'm Paul Allen, back after the... And may God rest the soul of Karen Carpenter, the voice on this age-old Carpenter song. That's 9 to noon immortality. Rainy days and Mondays indeed do get us down. But the beauty of it is you get an opportunity to turn the old frown upside down next Monday against the L.A. Rams, 7 o'clock for the boom, and 5 o'clock for the pregame from SoFi Stadium. And at 11:39, I'm going to ask one question, and we'll see where it goes. Are you surprised, Nordo, that the Minnesota Vikings are favored in this game against the Rams?
Yep. Yeah. And that's when, and thank you, by the way, for your assist when you were listening to Fan Line last night. I just flippantly said, with the way tonight went, and you're opening up at SoFi. You lost to the Rams earlier this season. I'm feeling like the Vikes are going to be 2-point dogs. And then you hit me. You said they were 2 or 2.5 point favorites.
Blew me away.
Same here. And it's already dropped, by the way. So some early money coming in. I saw that it's already tightened to Vikings minus 1.5.
Yeah.
So, obviously plenty of time for that to continue to move. But, the way that wave rides sometimes, as you were talking with Siny last segment, I just felt it had to be in this spot with McVay, postseason trained, with the thud-like feeling of a Sunday night regular season finale, with everything on the line, with the earlier loss to a since then gotten healthier Rams bunch, that the Vikings would be underdogs into this Monday night game, but the 14 wins still hold some cachet, potential coach of the year and all of that. And here we are as of now, slight favorites at SoFi a week from this evening.
Well, you know what carries water quite well, and for long periods of time, are those who set those point spreads at Las Vegas Sports Consultants, where it's basically like, we watched that same Vikings-Lions game you watched. We know the Rams are they won fewer games, and we've watched back Vikings-Lions like you, and we know the Vikings had about 9 chances to win that game, and they couldn't close on any of them. But we're going to lay this thing at Vikings minus 2.5. And by the way, the line to put your money where your mouth is right over there. So if you want to go ahead and double, triple, quadruple your wager and take the Rams on the money line just to win the game, they're a home team with a Super Bowl winning coach, a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Super Bowl winning receiver, and so on, and those nice Florida State rookies. Go ahead and smash it all you want. It astounds me, quite honestly. I mean, it's when you said that on Fan Line, I thought you nailed it. I thought maybe the Rams would be a 1.5 or a 2-point favorite. But the first line comes out, and the first line for those in the business, it's the most key moment, for those running businesses that involve wagers and point spreads. Because if you put a bad line on a game and you get these whales, you get these pros, to look at it and say, well, you're wrong here. And I normally bet $5,000. I'm betting 25 on this one. You're so wrong. Well, that's how sports books get killed. So they're not in the business of getting killed. So they're kind of like, we saw the Vikings. We saw Darnold. We saw the whole thing. We saw Vikings and Rams. Yeah, kitty, kitty.
Yep.
Yeah, kitty, kitty. Welcome in. The water's warm, y'all.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what it opened at in terms of the plus side of the money, but
2.5. Oh, yeah.
But
money line.
Yeah, but people, with the idea of putting things together, it's like you're telling me I could get plus 110 or plus 115, let's say, on the Rams, as you mentioned, at home. I'm going to jump all over this. And the fun part about watching this throughout the week is, and what we're going to do, we're going to turn the page, PA, and we're going to start talking about routes to beating Puka and Cooper and McVay, oh my. And this is a fun ass week. It's a playoff week, PA. It's sweet.
I know.
So we're gonna push the negativity aside and make that transition. The fun part is going to be, the Eagles are going to be favored to the wire, to kickoff, et cetera. But in this one, watching kind of that secondary wave, so that number is going to drop, and I think you're going to see probably the Rams potentially favored at some point this week. Then does it swing back? And that's going to be the emotional roller coaster that
wagering.
Correct, that we ride 9 to noon. It's going to be early money is going to hit that plus side of the Rams. Yep. Then the Vikes are going to say, well, we got to say in this too. Oh, by the way, 25,000 of us are going out to SoFi because good seats are available. Mm-hmm. And then how that plays into the weekend, watching games play out into Monday. Yeah. I mean, it's. I think that wave it's gonna jostle back and forth a little bit.
Break time for a final time 9 to noon, and we will put a wrap on the show and discuss some more Vikings-related details, minutia, and overarchers when we return to KFAN. Hey, before we depart, I do want to give a shout out to some people here with the Minnesota Vikings who work in operations, specifically Chad Lundeen, Paul Martin, Chuck Peterson, and just that whole group.
Yeah.
Because the trip that we just took, first to Detroit's airport, DTW though, then Troy, and then Ford Field. There are a lot of people. I mean, there were a lot of people on this trip. It required a couple of planes, with a staggered starts, and it just, there was a lot of coordinating and just a lot of minutia. I just know that went into this trip, and it's just a pleasure to work with people who are very good at their jobs, and that's why with Chad Lundeen, Paul Martin, Chuck Peterson, and that whole crew, they did a really, really good job, man. So I want to shout them out. And secondly, I went, I don't do this too often, but with the tickets, the Vikings / the Will family bought and took like a $1.7 million financial L on it. But they bought those $1,900 tickets, where there are a lot of good tickets. I mean, I have friends of mine who are season ticket holders who, I'm either in the air heading to Detroit or I'm on the bus to the airport when we were back here. And, I got people texting me saying, either they contacted the team or vice versa looking for tickets. And then they're like, well, as a matter of fact, we just came into 1,900 of them thanks to the owners. And, where do you want to sit? And my friend, with his daughter, who went to the game, Jeremiah and Maya, they were like, I don't know, behind the Vikings bench. Okay, well, how about row 1 and the 20-yard line? And those are going to cost you $250, it was unbelievable how inexpensive those tickets were, doing it the way the Will family did it, to give a purple and white, purple and gold feel to the big game the best they could around the lower bowl. And so I went up into the stands and chatted with some of those people who were on the right side of that Will family move. And, there were tickets, man, where it like at the 40-yard line behind the Lions bench or 40 behind the Vikings bench, those suckers were going for $1,100 each. So you're like $2,200 for two. Yet because the owners of this team were playing so fast, and it meant so much to them to have Vikings fans in the building, you could get those tickets for like two of them for $500 or $600. It's unprecedented, and I thought it was really cool, man.
Yeah, it's a super cool gesture, and I'm glad you mentioned. I mean, and Paul Martin, I don't interact with a lot of these people at the facility that often, but just kind of understanding and getting the chance to meet Paul and talk about just everything that goes into the process of making road trips work. I can't even imagine London-related trips and things. Yeah. But then, so you combine that, it kind of just tells a story of an organization that is built with really good people. And that starts with the owners and the gesture they made. And absolutely some people in operations that without them, this train doesn't move.
Paul Martin, Chad Lundeen. There's a very, very hardworking lady named Milan, Chuck Peterson, and the rest of the group. There was a lot that went into that trip, man, and they came through with flying colors. Now, tomorrow 9 to noon at TCO Studios, to where I am now, the belief is Kevin O'Connell will join at 11 o'clock. And we, as Nardo adroitly said, either in the first hour or when Bursich and I joined, there's a lot to unpack into this Rams game, and there really is. And I've jotted down some notes from today. Can't wait to get after it tomorrow. Appreciate you, Eric, for taking over that first hour. Likewise to Max Fuller, and I'm Paul Allen. We will talk tomorrow when we rise and shine at 9 for the 9 to noon show on KFAN.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.